Before the name Alexander the Great echoed across continents, before a young king led an army to the edges of the known world, there was Macedonia, a rugged kingdom on the fringes of the Greek world that history nearly forgot. This is where our story begins. Macedonia in the 4th century BCE was not what the Polis city-states of southern Greece considered civilized. The Macedonians were a hardy people living in harsh, mountainous land. Their kingdom stretched from the Pindus Mountains to the coastal plains bordering the Aegean Sea. To the Greeks, these people were semi-barbaric. They spoke in a dialect barely recognizable as Greek. They lived under kings rather than democratic assemblies, and their nobles hunted boars and rode horses while Athens produced philosophers. But this backward kingdom possessed something that the Greek city-states lacked: unity, resources, and vast potential. The Macedonian kings ruled from Pella, a city that would later become one of the most impressive in the Greek world. Unlike the fractious city-states to the south, Macedonia was a unified kingdom, though constantly threatened by tribal peoples from the north and the west. In 359 BCE, Macedonia was in crisis. The king had fallen in battle against the Illyrians, leaving behind an infant heir and a kingdom on the brink of collapse. Into this chaos stepped a 23-year-old prince named Philip, who assumed control as regent. Philip had spent his youth as a hostage in Thebes, one of Greece's leading military powers, where he studied their advanced tactics and innovations. Philip quickly seized the throne for himself and began transforming his backward kingdom into the dominant power of the Greek world. His genius lay in seeing opportunities where others only saw threats. When gold and silver mines were discovered in the Macedonian territory, Philip didn't simply extract wealth. He founded cities, established administration, and used this unprecedented income to fund something revolutionary: a professional standing army. Philip's greatest innovation was military reform that would change warfare forever. The traditional Greek hoplite phalanx was effective but inflexible. Philip redesigned it completely. His Macedonian phalanx soldiers carried the sarissa, a pike up to 18 feet long, allowing them to outreach enemy spears. While the phalanx anchored his battle line, Philip created specialized units, such as light infantry, archers, and most importantly, heavy cavalry, led by Macedonian nobles called the Companions. This combined arms approach was devastating against traditional Greek tactics. Philip's army wasn't just better equipped, it was professional. Unlike citizen soldiers who returned to farms after battles, his men trained year-round. They were not loyal to the city, but to their king. For decades, the Greek city-states had exhausted themselves in endless wars. Athens, Sparta, and Thebes had all risen and fallen as hegemons, leaving Greece politically fragmented and militarily vulnerable. Philip exploited these divisions masterfully. Through a combination of diplomacy, bribery, and targeted military campaigns, he extended Macedonian influence southward. In Athens, orator Demosthenes desperately warned his countrymen about the threat from the north, delivering his famous Philippics, but few listened until it was too late. The decisive moment came in 338 BCE at the Battle of Chaeronea. Philip led his forces against a combined Greek army with his 18-year-old son Alexander commanding the elite Companion cavalry on the left wing. The battle ended in a complete victory for Macedon. Greece lay at Philip's feet. Rather than destroying his opponents, Philip created the League of Corinth, a confederation of Greek states with himself as leader, ostensibly to unite Greece against Persia. Philip began preparations for an invasion of the Persian Empire, an audacious plan to avenge the Persian invasions of Greece a century earlier. He sent advanced forces across the Hellespont into Asia Minor, but Philip would never live to see this grand expedition. In 336 BCE, during the wedding celebration of his own daughter, Philip was assassinated by one of his own bodyguards. The killer was immediately cut down, leaving the true motives shrouded in mystery. Some suspected Alexander or his mother Olympias of involvement, as Philip's recent marriage threatened Alexander's position. Others believe Persian agents orchestrated the murder to prevent the invasion. The murder left a 20-year-old Alexander as king of Macedonia and hegemon of Greece. He inherited a kingdom transformed, economically prosperous, militarily superior, and poised for conquest. Many expected the Macedonian achievement to collapse with Philip's death. Greek cities rebelled, northern tribes invaded, and Persian gold funded opposition. But Alexander was not merely his father's son. He had been raised for greatness, educated by Aristotle himself, and had already proven his capability at Caesarea. Within 2 years, Alexander would secure his position in Greece and Macedonia, crushing rebellions with a shocking speed and brutality. The young king would then turn his gaze eastward towards the vast Persian Empire. What followed would transform the world forever. Next time, Alexander consolidates his power, puts down rebellions across Greece, and prepares for the greatest military campaign the ancient world had ever seen.